Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was searching inside.
Sing it, Kenny, sing it.
There was something going on.
Kenny Cooper, coming at you, live from Evesham.
Kraft is in the stream. That is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world where we can lie on together.
Right, there you go. That's all you got to suffer. That was a dedication.
Rest in peace, Kenny.
Kenny Cooper.
No, Kenny Rogers. Bless his heart. Rest in peace. Loved him.
Right, anyway, hello. If you're still there, well done. we wanted to filter some of you out, so we thought we'd inflict that on you. Here we are for the Isolation Inspiration number 1. Or, as Debbie was texting, Debbie, Chief Inkoid, she sent a text yesterday or the day before and said, IsoInk1. What? So I had to phone her back. Debbie, what are you talking about? So apparently all the cool kids are now going to call it the IsoInk1. There you go, Isolation Inspiration. So yeah, and the good thing is as well, there's loads of us doing this. Loads of the crafty types who inflict themselves on you on the telly. And I think it's brilliant. So I think it's really good to be handing over and sharing it together. And it doesn't matter what side you're on, what you're promoting. We're beyond that right now. It's all about, helping each other out. I think it should be. So I know that John's got a really good thing going, Lockwood. So are you, mate, if you're watching? And he invited me to his thing. And there's, Carly, love Carly. Carly's doing that thing as well from our lockdown. And after this one, I was talking to my mate Mandy, who has, I think Mandy is just absolutely fantastic demonstrator, knows her stuff, and lovely, absolutely lovely woman. Obviously works with Sue, my other bestie. So at the end of this one, we're going to be handing over to Mandy to take us through some mixed media as well. So if you want to just hop over, I think that's great. Just like his proper satellite link up. I think that's all cool.
Inspiration Kraft Facebook page.
Yeah,
not inspiration.
No.
Oh. No. What is it?
Imagination
Kraft. Sorry, Mandy.
Imagination Kraft Inc. Facebook page. But I'll remind you at the end of it anyway. So here's what we're going to do. Wills, you want to sit down now, darling? She got her whole hair combed and everything for you. No, we've inflicted a bath on her. She was not happy. Go on then, darling. Go on, and we'll start playing. So here's what we're going to do. This is not going to be anything about products on the telly. We might use some stuff that you see on the telly. Might use some stamps that I've done. It might be older stamps. Might be stamps from a year or 2 or 3 back. It could be products from then. Or it could just be stuff I want to buy or that I've already bought, that I love, that you've never even seen me use. I'm not associated with in any way, shape, form. Just stuff I want to play with. So the first thing I thought, because it's like an oldie but a goldie, and some of you haven't seen this, is faux leather. Because I think as well, the best thing we can do right now is we're stuck at home. Let's make the best we can of it and forage and rummage amongst our own homes for things that we can transform. Even better stuff that would be thrown out. So, for example, boxes here. You're gonna get an insight here into my dietary kind of habits right now. So we've got some kale crackers. We've got some Weetabix, but the protein will be a bit healthier. I've got to be honest. Pre-January, this would have been a very different story. We would have had to find something to work with plastic cake boxes. But I'm trying to be good. So this stuff. This is the side we're looking at. This is the stuff we want. Don't throw them out. Transform them. If you look at the boxes, it makes more cupboard space anyway. But we can also use craft cards as I've done before, and that we're going to transform into something what looks rather cool, I think, like this. This is the old faux leather. You know what? All we're going to do with it, well, you see, glycerin, spray bottle, inks and something to make it water resistant. So we'll go through that and what you can use, because it's going to be a case of, this is what I've got, but this will also work. We talked about different ink pads that are out there that you might have different brand, you might have, you know, anything. We'll try and ask, if you think, while you're watching, if you think Maria's going to keep an eye on any questions, I've got this, will that work? Okay, so just ask the questions. But this was just a cheapy little book I got at Tesco's or somewhere, wasn't it? And it's just a little one of those, you know, inspiration books, but it had a really bright green glittery kind of cover. But I thought, you know what, it looks much funkier. Looks like a wrapped leather cover. You can put a band around there and have it so that it looks like it's wrapped leather. And as you can see, I've joined it with a couple of pieces there. But to think that started out as that, that's what we're going to do. And I'm also going to show you this simple tag that I promised. I was planning on showing you on the television, but we sold out before the product I even got to use it. And to be honest, it was absolutely, you know, jam-packed, the show with stuff anyway. So thank you and thank you. Wow, those shows last week, what happened? That was just phenomenal. Thank you so much, everybody. You know, it's amazing when the team and we just get things completely right. Now, I wish we had a magic formula. I think we do pretty well most of the time, but those illuminated letters, everybody who supported us with that has just been amazing. Thank you. And obviously everything else. So shall we start playing? Oh.
Willow, that's not cute.
Oh, that. She did this last time. Quiet voice. Don't know where she gets the volume thing from. It's not me. All right, shall we focus on there then, Maria?
Yep. Give me the Dobby treat and that will help.
Oh, look. Yeah. This might be... this. Can I show everybody? Look. That's where the half a denti stick was.
Let's call it bribery.
Bribery. Right. Shall we focus on this then?
Absolutely.
All right, then. Let's do that. All right, then, lovely. So... I've got all the stuff we're going to play with out here, and the first thing we need to do is we need to work on some cord. So we can work on this one, or we can work on that, or let's just use a bit of Kraft cord. Let's just cut a bit of Kraft cord. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use this with embossing folders. So any of your embossing folders would work a treat. I've got an old one here. Some of you may have this one. This is one of mine from previous ranges. And this is a tattered lace one here. So any size, just obviously be mindful of what you want to do at the end of it. So because I wanted a large sheet, I used one of the, I think it was 8x8. It was a Crafter's Companion large embossing folder that I had launched on TV quite a bit back. And that covered, I could, you know, cover a good chunk of this book, but that's all that was. So just for the purposes of this, we'll use a smaller embossing folder. Let's use this one. So I'm gonna just cut this down so it's roughly the size, and then we're going to start to play, and I'm going to talk you through what we need as we go. How's that, Maria? Anybody got any questions? Everybody happy so far?
Yeah.
Do we have people?
That's lots of people.
Hey, cheers everybody. Hope you're all keeping safe and sane. Safe and sane is lovely, because yeah, it's just a bit different right now, isn't it? Just a bit, but you know what? At least we've got crafting. Phew. Yeah. Imagine if we didn't have crafting. Right, so we've got the craft card, or indeed a packet. Now the good thing is I've already got one I've prepared to a stage further down with, that was another bit of the Weetabix there. You can see this is already further down the line, so we can jump ahead. So you'll see what a box looks like as well as craft card. Next thing we need is a spray bottle, and any spray bottle is going to be great, but proportion wise you're going to use about maybe 6 to 1, 6 water to 1 measure of glycerin. So it's easier just to show you. Now glycerin, if you're not going out and things like that, if you don't already have it and you don't want to go out and whatever, you can get it online, just that, you know. So just obviously, I know some of you want to do that, some of you don't want to do it, whatever, but if, like I say, when you can get it, it's a brilliant thing to have, because there's so much you can do with it. So I'm going to fill this up. You know that this helps you blend your inks and things, and it also refreshes your embossing ink pads. You don't dilute it for that. You just get your embossing ink pad, drop a few drops on that, spread it over, and that'll make your ink pads go further. So that's good right now, because you're probably going to be doing more crafting than you have been for a bit.
Top tip.
Top tip, yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm shaking it up then. It goes a bit swirly. You can see it. It's thicker. It's very viscous. And it's as if it's kind of like you're mixing oil and water, which you're not. Obviously, that wouldn't work. But it does thicken the water and it actually attracts moisture to it, the glycerin, which is why it's a good thing for this. Even just spraying before you emboss a little bit with this, not soaking the way I'm doing now, but if you're embossing with stencils and things, this is a great thing to just give a spritz over your card, let it soak in a little bit, and then emboss, and it'll give you a deeper emboss. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take a craft card and we're going to literally, now that you're just shaking it up a little bit, soak it. Literally soak it, and then take your hand and just start massaging the surface. You don't want to rub the surface away because you want to keep that, you don't want to compromise the integrity of your surface too much. Ooh. I know. All right, so you're going to do that and then do the other side, and same thing. So just build it up. And the good thing is as well, if you're thinking, whoa, what's that doing to my hands, Douglas? Just good things. Because I remember back in the day, Avon calling. Mum used to have it every year. I've said this before on the telly. 2 things I remember big style with Avon. First thing was Pretty Peach. Now, if you're a certain age, Maria, did you ever get Pretty Peach for Christmas?
Yes.
All did, didn't it? It had to get it. And I remember it was Pretty Peach was arranged and it had a little peach thing on the top, bubble bath, hand cream. But my favourite thing one year was a skunk. I thought that was quite ironic. The fact, skunks are kind of not known for the pleasant odour. However, it was a little skunk brooch and you flipped its little belly down and inside was a solid perfume. Oh. I wore that skunk with pride. I loved me skunk. So that was Pretty Peach. The other thing was the rose and glycerin hand cream. Can we remember that? Big. It was usually it was always a cheap deal and it was usually on the back cover, but it was a classic. So the glycerin actually is it's non-toxic. You can get edible glycerin. This is vegetable glycerin I'm using, so it's not, it's all good if you're vegan and stuff like that. So that's all good.
Available from a chemist near you?
Well, yeah, but I got mine off Amazon.
Ooh.
So you can go to Amazon as well. If you want to go in bulk like that, which is worth it, because then I decanted it. We put it into little containers, which I also got off there, to make it more, usable in a craft fashion. Can you see that's starting to look like chamois leather? I feel like I want to go and wash the car. However, I won't.
It's malleable, Sheena.
Malleable. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
You're not the only one who knows big words.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you. Quite impressive. Whew. I don't know who I'm going to be in lockdown with. I'm a bit scared now. So, and also happy Mother's Day to everybody that applies to. Just happy Everybody Day. Yeah. So I'm scrunching this up. Look, this is what the glycerin does. It gets right into the fibres of the card, and that does look like a chamois leather right now. And you think, well, you're done. You've lost the plot. Well, yeah, I have. But it's tough stuff. Look, it's all good. That's what we want. We want that kind of texture. And what you'll find is some craft cards have a more porous side and a more kind of dense side. Can you see that one's like a smoother side to the other side? If you, before you put it in your folder, decide which side up you want it to be, right, I'll go backtrack. This side's better for inking if you can. With a box, you get what you get. It's a trial and error. It all works, by the way. It's just I like this side. It's got a little bit more dense kind of finish to it than this is a bit more porous. Either way, it'll work, but I like this side. So if you put it in your folder, like this one here, where you can see which way would be up on your folder, make sure that you put the side that you want facing up towards the pattern, the embossed rather than the debossed side. And I'm going to pop that in there. Thus, now, I got, see, things that I haven't been using on the telly. I had to have this. I really like the look of this little thing. This is the Big Shot fold away. Cool, look, put your stuff in there. So, and I just thought it would be handy to have at the desk. Did we not think that? We did. Oh yeah, you need mats. Now I'm saying this, still relatively new to this, so I can't remember what I did for the sandwich. I have a feeling I've got a shim here, which is a double sheet of card, and this spacer plate there for something. And I think it was because the two plastic things were a bit thick for some of the folders. Obviously different embossing folders are going to be thicker or thinner. So you might have to experiment a little bit. So I'm going to run this through, and what also will happen, can you see that? The water coming out. Now this is where I've actually put this through Gemini, and it's been fine, honestly. It doesn't run through the whole of the machine because it's sealed anyway, but just be aware of that. Now if you put it so that it runs out like that, you can get a bit of paper and just blot this like this. But doesn't that look cool already? Look at how deep that embossing is. All right, so we'll blot that up, and then we're going to dry that. Now the good news is, depending on time, like I say, we've got to keep wow, where's the time gone? I feel like I'm doing a telly show. Where's it gone? Yikes. It's okay, we've got so much I want to get through and show you, but we've got one that is also dry. But let's see how we get on with drying this one, and we'll move on. I'll show you how to transform that. So this is now what you could do. What I have done in the past is I've done a few of these like that, run them through, have a few, because what I was doing as well was making, back in the day, little books, little, you know, as if this was the cover of a book, and I was sewing little signatures, they called them, with paper, and then fitting them inside the book, and yeah, it looked really cool. But they're also great. I'll tell you what I've made, a phone holder with it. If you then, can you hear me still okay? If you glue this with a good wet PVA glue to some felt, and then cut it all out together, then sew it together with once it's all finished and you've protected it like I'm going to show you. I made myself an iPad case, and I used it for 3 months before it started falling to bits, and I took it in the green room, and people thought it was a dead posh expensive leather folio case kind of thing. Just stitched it and had a little flap over the top. It looks super cool. So you know, we've covered photo frames with this. If you have got stuff inside, obviously we're not going out shopping, so you've got to keep remembering, I can't tell you to go out and get these things. You might have them in. IKEA had a really good picture, like a mirror, that was great for painting and transforming, and cheap as chips, so they'd be great for this to cover, make it look like leather. It looks like 70s retro, like a patchwork leather. If you you know, do that and do different texture folders with it, change the colour up slightly, yeah, all cool stuff. So what you want to do, and what I was going to tell you I have done in the past, and then I went on another tangent, was I used to dry these on the radiator and have them all just, you know, hanging on the radiator. Best if you've got a thick radiator, and you can keep them flat though. They are better if they're flat. So see how bendy it is. It's nothing like cord when you're done, and it does look, it's got that look of a chamois leather, but it's not the right colour yet. But we can change this. We can do something about it. Is everybody happy still?
Everyone's happy.
Fabulous.
We've got our friends from across the water in America. Hi
Yay.
everyone.
Hi. Been speaking to my friend in California this week. So you know what? It's just be speaking to a lot of it. The thing is, it's kind of like distance doesn't matter anymore. Because it doesn't matter if they're, you know, a few streets away or in another country, because we're all just communicating the same way now, aren't we? This is it for a while. So, you know. Right. So I'm drying this. This would be great, by the way, for Mandy stuff. I bet Mandy could rock this with all those fabulous Cadence products to get into our mixed media collage type projects. Right, so I'm trying to talk to fill in. What you need to do here is make sure that this is dry properly, and you'll find it's really surprising how much moisture still keeps coming out. When I'm drying this side, you think, oh, that looks pretty dry. But usually when you turn it over, you'll see that there's some moisture whipped through to the other side. If I do that now, see, you can really be fierce drying this. It's not one of those things that, oh, you've got to leave it to itself. There, look, see? It's all come through that side. You find little patches here and there. So just, you know, keep going, and then we can get to the inking bit.
Lovely. Hi Monique from the Netherlands.
Hi Monique. Oh, I can still say, yeah, we're not using any stamples today. Stamples, yeah. And it will look mooi if I can make that happen. I'll tell you why I know this.
Go on then.
because when I used to go and demonstrate it, in the Netherlands, quite often, there was often people would walk past and say, moi, oh yeah, moi. And I thought, all right, who's this moi? What's that about? And then apparently it means beautiful. Am I right, Monique? I'm hoping it is. They might have been going, moi might mean, what a state. What a proper show up. Move on. I bet moi means move on. Keep walking. And the other thing is, thank you Vel for watching.
Monique says, weldig.
Weldig. What does that mean?
I'm not sure. Monique, what does it mean?
Right.
And Monique said, yes, you were right, by the way.
Yay! Cheers! No, they didn't have me on. There was other things that the blokes I was working with did tell me, which I don't trust, that there were things that I should have been saying in public, so I didn't. Because I think they would have been setting me up for a bit of a laugh, but not appropriately.
Maria says, just before we go ahead, how did you apply the glycerine to the card without crinkling it up?
I did crinkle it up. Did you not say that bit?
Or
watch it on rewind?
Yeah.
Because I crinkled it up like a crinkly thing. Basically, I spritzed it lots. I mean, I used all that water on that one bit of card there. All that water. Spritz, both sides. And then I got it and I scrunched it up as if it was chamois leather. Rang it. It wasn't dripping, but it was really moist right into the card, because that's what the glycerin does. It holds it in there. Then I put it in the folder. And now what you get when you come out is you've got these little wrinkly crinklies. The folder's flattened it out, but it's still got texture there. So we'll work on this side. That side's a prettier colour, which we can do like a debossed. Oh no, let's do that side. Yeah, let's do this side. Let's do that. So next thing we want to do is we want to use some ink pads. Now, in the past, and I know this works, these are fabulous, or distress inks. I mean, come on, distress inks. Respect. You know, you add other ink pads to ranges and you add them, and they all play nice. The Sheena ink pads are there as well. There's your Crafters Companion ink pads are all there. I think Hunky Dory do them. Whatever dye-based ink pads you've got are all great. And they all play together. Doesn't mean you've got to like ditch one brand and now go, that's all I'm buying. They all play together. Just remember that. All right, but the thing is, the ordinary dye-based ink pads, not the oxides. Oxides, I've created one and it doesn't look anywhere near as good. I'm going to try and find it if I can find it. Because the thing is with oxides is they're opaque. Now the other things, I've got some of the Sheena ones out here, so I'm going to have a look and see how they work. So let's do a couple. So this I know, this formula works great. I've got warm colours, starting lighter than darker. So let's start with Spiced Marmalade, Rusty Hinge, not wrong with Rusty, I love Rusty, not wrong with him. Fire Brick, Vintage Photo, and a bit of Black Suit. So they're all of that same kind of warm orange to kind of warm brown look, with a little bit of the black to make it look aged. So what I'm going to do, which is ironically what you're going to do by the end of this video, just saying. So start with a lighter colour as usual and pop it on your card, and don't be too fussy about, we want this to look a bit random because I want it to look like that vintage tan leather. This is going to create that classic tan leather look. And you'll find, because you've soaked the card, normally craft card is going to grab, it's going to grip, and you're not going to get much blending out of this ink at all if you've tried it. Or if you haven't tried, go ahead and try it without the glycerin. Because the glycerin's been kind of impregnated into this card now, you'll find that your inks go kind of further. And the benefit of having craft card, this will work with any colour card by the way, but the benefit of craft card for faux leather is it's already given you a really good warm base to work with. So you use very little of your product to get to where you need to be colour wise. So that's looking pretty cool. I'm happy with that already. Yeah, good with that.
Jacqueline says, is it okay if the glycerine's out of date? Will it still work?
Well, Jacqueline, I don't know. You want to check and see what's going to do to your hands. Because wear gloves, Jacqueline. And a ventilated room. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the consequences of out of date glycerin are. I wouldn't want to say, because I don't want you to, cause any dodginess to yourself or anyone around you with out of date glycerin.
Okay.
Does that sound fair enough?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, what I'm saying, I haven't even checked the date on mine. I suppose if it's, you're going to eat it, then that's going to make a big difference. I will say when you're spraying it, I do talk a lot when I'm doing stuff. Oh, kind of like I'm expected to. It'd be rubbish if you were demonstrating and didn't, wouldn't it? Just kind of like transmit via the power of thought. But with talking, breathing in to refuel sometimes.
Round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. We are joined by Mandy Taylor.
Mandy Taylor, come on. Yeah, well, we're gonna watch Mandy next, aren't we? Cheers, Mandy. We're just saying, Mandy, this would be really cool in your mixed media projects, and there'll be some really fab Cadence products that'll make this look even cooler. I bet. Over the top. When we get to that bit, I'll tell you, and you could probably advise. So what I'm doing now, can you see I'm still keeping it a bit patchy? I don't want to just go over and have a random one colour, because then what's the point in using all those different colours? I want it to look there. They've got some lighter bits and some darker bits, and it's really warming up now. And it's starting to look more leatherish, don't you think? So I'm working darker again. And this now, I'm thinking like round the edges and, and some, not just, again, in a random fashion. Definitely, but this brings out the crinkly bits great. See how the background starts to look like it's got that natural veins and creases in the leather. Like it wouldn't have done had we not done all the crinkly bits. Now that's looking pretty good. That's leather looking to me. But what we want to do is dirty it up a little bit. And this is where we're now going to go with the old black soot, because that will make it look like it's not brand new. And it definitely round the edges. This actually works with a image that's actually gone outside of the size. Normally with an embossing folder, I emboss my whatever I'm doing, then I'll trim them down so you lose all of this extra bits around the outside, but it actually looks like it's tooled leather that way. If you don't, you think somebody had actually hand embossed the centre, and then it fades out and still looks really cool, just like leather. If you leave that, so you can, what I'm saying is expand the size of your of your folder with this. So now that's looking a little bit dirtier there.
So you start with your lightest coloured ink and work through to your dark.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
So that looks pretty cool. I'm happy with that. So that's what we've done. We've done that's with distress inks, which are winner chicken dinner. And if you collect distress inks, these are all the original range. Did you know the whole of the distress ink range started with walnut stain? The whole range, yeah. And I know that because I have been to New Jersey. So those of you across the way, yeah, for coffee and donuts. What? Yeah, and yeah, told by the horse's mouth with Tim in a room of just really, people from all over the world about all the products, the range of products, the whole range. And yeah, it started out because, and I've done this sadly enough, you can get walnut crystals and you dissolve them. They're water soluble, unlike the shellac I used to make as well, which was shellac and with methylated spirits. That's a whole other, seriously. But anyway, the walnut crystals, you would dissolve them and then you could spray them on and do things, and that's what Tim was doing. And the chemist said, look, we'll make you an ink pad. And anyway, they made the ink pad, but it wasn't right for a few reasons, and they went back and they got it just right the way he wanted it, so stayed wet long enough to move across the surface, didn't split into other colours, and that was the start of the whole of Distress Ink range there, right there, with walnut stain. So you have to have walnut stain in your collection just for that, because
Maria's from Jersey.
Really? Hi Maria. Oh, is that Maria Capone Manor?
Yeah.
Hey, see, we know you, Maria. We know you. Brilliant. Yeah, I like New Jersey. I went across there to New York, and I did my Barbra Streisand bit, singing "Don't Rain on My Parade." As we went across, too much information.
Anyway, back to the photo.
Moving on. Right, so that's looking pretty cool, but it could look better. This is where now I need your help, Mandy, because I had lots of people have something of this ilk. Yeah, they got something of that type. And this is obviously the matte, but I think it looks better with a little bit of a sheen. Funnily enough, even though it says matte, when you apply this quite, liberally, you get more of a satin. It's not completely matte, see? It's got like a bit of a sheen. I put 2 coats of that on. Now, two things. The main thing is you're protecting it, you're sealing it. So if water gets on this, you can wipe it off. You want it to be durable. If I wanted my phone case to then sew like this, or a picture frame, I want to be able to clean it, wipe it off. But just card, obviously that wouldn't happen, would it? It wouldn't work. So from that to that, that's the next stage we're going to do. We're going to make it look more authentic, and also, like I say, something you could carry around, something that wouldn't just rub off onto your hands and just fall apart. It toughens it a lot. So this is great. Mod Podge is great. But you could use, if you've got a, now Cadence have to have a clear medium. I know I've used a Pebeo clear medium in the past. You know, for acrylic paint, you get like mediums, don't you? Like, and that they work great. I know that there's a clear transparent relief paste that I bet if you watered it down, I've got some of that, I'll try it. That'll work as well. Mandy will be able to give you a heads up on other Cadence products that would work. Even if you've got like a water-based varnish, like a satin varnish, great also. Because what we're going to do now, I'll use the, oh, and also even the Ultimate Glaze. This is the one we're going to do that little quick tag version with, so you can see a quick one. So, but I'll show you how I put the Mod Podge on a larger scale. Well, first of all, I used a kitchen sponge. You know me and the kitchen sponges. It's like, you know, they're brilliant. Just get yourself or have a look if you haven't got them in. Just, you know, raid the kitchen, get your kitchen sponge. I'm just going to cut this in half a little bit. This is a really dense one. This is a good quality. This is posher than we normally go, Maria. God. Seriously. We
Lorna's saying that she's only got Liquitex gloss gel.
Yes.
That should work.
Perfect, Lorna. That's exactly, and that's what these isolation inspirations are about. It's not about anything that click here and you can get it off, click here. It's like a telly show. Yeah, we've all the information on a telly show, but it's usually because there's products there, because, you know, that's what shopping telly's about.
Yeah.
You know, hello, it's like, that's what it is. But these aren't. These are, and especially right now, it's about what you've got. And then I'm going to show you what's just arrived from Amazon. Actually, oh look, I don't want bits of sponge. I should have cleared that off first. Yeah, that's an extra technique with bit added texture. So this is better because the reason I'm dabbing this on a water-based product over another water-based product, if I brushed it on, I'm going to be lifting the colour, am I not? You can see it's already lifting a bit of the colour, but because I'm dabbing it, it's just kind of putting it back down where it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm pressing down because I want all of those little nooks and crannies to be covered with this. And this is why this works, and this is why an inexpensive sealant is what you want. And that's all, that's what this is, really. That's it. And by using the sponge, you're getting into all those bits. And even if it's a thicker product and you retain a little bit texture, that's even better, because, you know, texture leather isn't flat, is it? Now, any acrylic product, when it's wet, most acrylic products when they're wet, look white. And you think, what have I done now? That's just ruined that, has it not? Well, no, you're fine. Because let me just move this. We do want the bits of sponge that are stuck on there off there. And big tip, this is where kitchen sponge, I've got a, you know, like an art sponge, but I don't want to use that because that would ruin that. If it's a bit of kitchen sponge and you don't wash it off straight away, you bin it. You know, I use kitchen sponges if I'm doing some mixed media, like with Mandy, and I want to apply some black gesso to a canvas, white gesso to a canvas, rather than using your brushes and taking ages to clean them and ruining, you know, spoiling any large brushes. I always just put it on with a kitchen sponge and then just bin it. You know, not a full kitchen sponge, just a bit of a kitchen sponge. So what I'm going to do now is I'll dry this up the thing.
Amanda's been kind enough to tell us that Cadence Decoupage Plus,
yes,
satin glue, is a glue and a sealer.
Oh,
so that would work.
Well, there you go. This is exactly what we want. This is exactly why we like to play together, because we don't know we want to share the knowledge, and that's fantastic. Thanks, Mandy. So knew there would be Cadence products. Seriously? I haven't used anything from Cadence that hasn't surpassed anything else I've used, to be honest. They're phenomenal. Yeah. But I'm going to show you what I've just had delivered as well. Right, so look at that. Look at the difference there already. Look. Because I put that on thicker, even though it says matte, it's now gone That
That's
just
nice.
looked like leather, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I showed Maria, I hadn't seen this technique before, had you?
No, I don't know.
I
where
think you were in the
I've been.
living room, and it was it was years ago I did this, Maria, and we literally couldn't get glycerin. All the chemists sold out of glycerin, and it just is such a cool thing. So I mean, it feels, it looks like leather. It behaves like it's plasticized now, so it's tough. You can wipe it. Imagine, you can cover books with it, but that's still just what it is on the other side. But once that's sealed with a good, decent PVA glue to anything it's going to stick against, once that PVA is dried as well, that's become waterproof and it's gone into the fibres at the back of the thing. So that's made it seal as well. Should we do the quick version now?
Yes.
On the card, what we like for time. Oh, what great, Mandy. I'm not doing bad at all. It is like as if it's a show and you can just you keep to where you're supposed to be. It's a bit spooky for me. So, right. Did you like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Did I like it? I hope so. Right, I've got tags. Now, these are tags I had in a previous range. And you know what? I really like these tags. They're, I know, again, thousands of you bought these. And they're a Craft's Companion tag range. And they are the extra thick ones. So they're the ones that cut the different media out. So you can actually cut like mount board and stuff with these as well. But craft cord again. So let's do another one. Shall we try saying what these look like? Let's try the different colour. Let's use my Sheena ones. Again, might be Craft's Companion ink pads. It could be your Hunky Dory ink pads. It could be John's ink pads. It could be anybody's ink pads that you've got. That's not what this was about. This is about using what you've got and the technique. So we will take, now there's no glycerin on this, remember. So this is where I would normally put my in my little bottle, some glycerin. I'm going to put a few dots out there onto my
glass mat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Here
And
to
then
help.
thanks. And then I'm going to pop a little bit on my applicator. And the trick is you don't want to just go straight down. You want to get the glycerin over the surface of the applicator if you can. And then again, start with the yellow, with the lighter colour. So I'm going to try. Let's try a bit of yellow. Now, it's because I've glycerined it up and because these are transparent inks, because, ordinary dye-based inks are transparent, which is why you normally use them on a white card, you're not going to get, the yellow's not going to be in your face yellow. You can see it's just got a warmer glow, which is exactly what I want. I don't want that on there. If I wanted that on there, I would use a white card. So now I'm going to use some carrot cake, and I don't probably need to reapply any glycerin here because I can already see it on that card. So carrot cake. Now this is a reactions one, but I have to say they're not as opaque as your oxides for covering up the base colour. So these ones do work, the reactions. You can work with the reactions.
So this time we haven't sprayed it on.
No, because we want this to be, imagine this, Maria,
Yeah.
you could get some craft card, fold it over to DL size,
Uh-huh.
yeah, then cut the edges off to make a tag shape, crocodile your hole in the middle, and then you've got a tag shaped card.
Great.
All right, so, or, if you've got tags like this, then that's great. You can make a card like that. You can do a little standy thing at the back of it if you want. So carrot cake. We'll try a bit of dark rose, see what that looks like. Oh yeah, dark rose, pretty.
Sheena,
Yeah,
can I just butt in?
yeah.
Can we say a big high five to Petal, who's watching?
Oh, hiya, Petal. Fantastic. Oh, I sound like I'm back up north. All right, Petal. It's so natural for me. Oh, great. Cheers, Petal.
We loved your drawing, by the way.
Yeah,
Absolutely awesome.
amazing.
You've got a talent. Keep going.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about crafting with them. If there's young ones in the family, there's so many people say, God, my kid's just been flying because they've been watching, Create and Craft or whatever channel, and they've been learning so much. The teachers are saying, where did they learn that from? How do they know that? What's this? And yeah, that's why. But the thing is as well, you're just playing when we're doing this. It's not like, school stuff where you have to think too much, because this isn't. It's just about having a bit of a try and a bit of a laugh. So can you see how that's now got that leathery kind of look to it, as opposed to that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to actually go in with a bit of slate to dirty this up a little
You
bit.
spoke of school.
Yeah.
I'd write your name on the back of your ink pads because Mandy's saying how much she wants your ink pads.
Uh-oh. All right, Mandy. Fair enough. But it's all right, because I want everything in the cadence line anyway, so I've got quite a bit of it now. I've got to be honest. But there are things that, you know, my knowledge is lacking, and I need to, like the sealant. You know, I like the stuff. I forget the names of the things as well. Love Rusty Patina. That's cool. That's really cool. And I've got to say, you know, I use masking fluid, drawing gum all the time. That cadence drawing gum, much respect. Wow, that stuff is fantastic. And if you're a stamper, I would do that as well. You might have other drawing gum, and that's great. But if you need to get out of that, looks pretty cool. I'm liking that. So that was done with the Sheena ink pad. So you can see how it works with just getting the right colours. They're all, you know, dye-based product, a dye-based ink pad. You know, the formulas vary slightly, but that's what they are. So I'm going to dry this, then I'm going to show you how just the cheat way of making it a bit textured and a bit shiny. So, and then we're going, you know, when you see these videos on YouTube crop up and they'll go like unpackaging videos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we literally had a delivery like a couple of minutes before in fact that's why we're 2 minutes late. The door rang. Willow barking, and it was an Amazon delivery, and I'll show you what it is. So it's not even come out of the package yet, and I'm thinking we'll do this next Sunday, so 6 o'clock is going to be the regular time if you fancy playing, and I want to know what you want to know, but I'm going to show you what they are. Some of you might be excited, some of you might go meh. But what I'll be using on these is things that are either household products that are just throwaway products that we're transforming. We have to do the floor polish coat and crystal as well. That's got to happen, because I can show you the floor polish that works now, because some of it you couldn't get, but this one I know you can get, and you can get it online. So we'll have to do that. But the other thing is classic colouring products, things that you can't go wrong with, things that, you know, you have trends that come and go and stuff you like, but you know what, I love watercolours. You know, and I love, there's certain things, whatever form it's in, pastels, watercolours, chalk pastels, oil pastel, whatever, they're classics and they've been around for centuries for a reason. But how to use them and how to use them in crafting, that's what I want to play with. So what I've got is I've got my sponge here, real sponge here, and I've wet it just to get it, what's that word, pliable again, yeah? But not with water in it. And I'm just going to take this cadence, this ultimate glaze that loads of you bought because I said this looks cool and I showed you the tag, and I'm going to pop some out. This is fab. It's like you can paint it on and it levels out and it makes a lovely glossy finish to anything you want to, you know, make look glossy. But in this case, I want it to look a bit random. And that's why I'm turning the sponge around. Whenever you're sponging, never use it just all one direction like that, because then you get like a tiled repeat pattern, because the same shape and the pattern of the sponge is just going to be obvious every time. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So even sponging, there's a way to make it look cooler or not. And by doing this and by doing a couple of layers like this, you get that natural kind of break in the surface, so it looks like the leather's a bit crinkly.
So we've had some people join us halfway through,
yeah,
and they're saying, what were the little dots that you've just wiped up on the thing?
That was glycerin.
Okay.
Because that was what we used to blend the ink on Kraft card, which is what we're doing now. But absolutely, guys, if you've just joined, these are going to be kept quite tight to an hour, so it means you get your life back. But it also means that we can fit in other regular, because I know people are doing regular time slots, and Mandy's been doing 7 o'clock for quite some time. So we said, look, let's do mine at 6, and then we can hand over to Mandy. And because there's such a crossover with what Mandy and Sue bring to you and what I love to play with and brought to you as well. And you'll see me using, you know, more and more products like that on my shows, you know, coming up and things. So it's all good. It works a treat. And what I'm doing now is just going over again with a little bit more. Now what you're doing as well as giving it the texture is about the, you know, like the matte or shine here. It's giving that impression that it's got that leathery kind of look as well, and it's also sealing it, so making it more robust, because with the faux leather that we just made, that makes it very pliable, very moldable, sewable, so to fit around frames, to make little pouches for your phone with, to make book bindings with, like this one again, I'll show you again. But what you sometimes want is just a rigid card that isn't going to be flippy floppy, and a quicker hit if you don't want to use your embossing folders. But look, that's seriously what we've transformed this here into.
Wow.
That there. Now what we're like for time checking. Whoa, look at that, not too bad. That there, how cool is that? Simple.
That's lovely.
Or what? And now this is going to stand up, whereas this one, bit flippity floppity, see, doesn't have the rigid, and that's what we've created. That's what we've made it do. We've made it act like a leather, like a faux leather. That again, if you're into the stitchy mixed media stuff as well, this will sew onto something. And look back, the guys who just joined. This is the one I stuck to felt and then sewed it together to make a mobile phone case, which was really cool. And yeah, and again, that's just craft card. But also this, oh, I got it wet, I was going to use it. This is cereal boxes. So this now with the ink on it, it's going to look the same as that. Let me come back to this tag and show you kind of what you could do with it. Now I'm not going to stick it together, but it's just for inspiration. But if you look at this, I would absolutely, I'd want to tone this down a little bit because it's a little bit too clean. So I'll take my, I'll take this fudge brownie. Can you tell I was thinking of food when I named these ones? I was like, not obsessed, was I? And I'll just darken these a little bit. So this is where you're going to bring in all the stuff you've got before. It could be charismas from tattered lace. It could be papers that you had in the past. It could be things that you stamped out. I've got so many bits and pieces I've stamped out during shows, you know, that are just lying around that I think, well, okay, they'll do for a future project. But like this one was actually. But these are from my Flowers of England range. But you see how now that's much, much more mellow. It's less in your face than that one. And it's going to tone into that background much more effectively. Still going to be bright and spring-like, that we can pop that on there if we want with a little bit of messaging and mixed media. But we could, and you can layer it up, obviously decoupage it. But that was what this was all about, was the techniques. Shall I show you what we're going to do next week? And hopefully you'll like it and you want to play.
Yeah.
Was that useful for you? Hope you enjoyed that.
One lady asked just a little bit back, apologies because I can't recall your name. How did you apply the leather to the book itself once you've done it?
Oh, absolutely. Good question. I'll show you. I used PVA glue, so the tattered lace glue that you can get, that I use on the shows, you know, I use that all the time. Something like your Cosmic Shimmer glue, your, you know, so many different glues. As long as it's a white, good, strong PVA glue. And what I did was I measured it, so by measure, I didn't measure it. I put my book on the bit of faux leather. And I put one end right up to the side once I trimmed it down a little bit, and then I just drew a line. Used a white pencil so I could see it, trimmed it with my trimmer, and I used the glue, literally put it all over the cover of the book and spread it out with my finger, because you really want it to make complete contact. You don't want to just put a few dots like when you're matting and layering, or have some missing bits. You want to spread it over, which is why even your DIY glue stuff is usually good enough for this. And then also on the spine and wrapped it round, because you want that full contact with that, so it does feel like it's part of the book. And then what I did was, once I'd stuck it, I used my scissors just to trim around the shape of the of the book itself. Now this went, you can just see to about there, but that's actually what happens with real leather when they overlap it sometimes as well. And then I did the same on the back, glued that, and you can see the seams here, but you could actually make that even less obvious if you press it down a little bit more. But that now, I mean, that I wish you had like Feel-O-Vision or something, because this is so protected. A couple of coats, let one coat dry, then apply another coat using that kitchen sponge. Wash it out again and use it again, and it gets into all the nooks and crannies, gets right into the fibres, pushes it in, so it really does seal it for you. And I think that's a fab little gift. You make your Christmas gifts now, you can make birthday gifts right now. Have a look and see what little inexpensive notebooks you've got in the house, frames to transform. Yeah, it's a really, really cool one. But next week, this is what I'm wanting to play with, because a lot of people have products and say, look, literally hasn't even been opened. This. I feel like I want to do the unboxing things. They go, just open the packet, will you? I have brought to you on TV very different watercolour pencils before, and never not good quality. I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even go anywhere near anything that isn't a good quality colouring product. All right, so nothing I have brought to you before has been a poor quality colouring product, but you can upgrade and you can upgrade and you can upgrade. And I always say that you get the best you can afford with the colouring product. So these are watercolour pencils, and from reviews and from whatever, I haven't used these ones before, but these, and there's another one which is Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle, get a mega rated. And the reason is, if you are producing for craft work, for card work, Crafters Companions as well, really good. The watercolour pencils I've brought you before. All the pigments are always going to be more light fast than a dye-based product. All right, they are. Dye just doesn't, when it gets into light, it fades. So if you want something, if you're doing something more now that you want to put on a wall, or you want it to stay as it is for a card, that maybe then go in a frame, get the best quality pigment product you can get. This is why I keep saying, on shows, if I use my watercolour concentrates, that's better than the dye-based ink pads for something that you want to keep for a while. So next week, I think we should play with coloured pencils and just show you why, and how it's horses for courses, why I would use it. And I think these will work great. The stamps I want to use are my the garden ones, the one I did with the little watering can. And I think these will work great. This will be a nice one to do with. But obviously any floral stamps that you've got will work as well. Are you up for that? I'm hoping you are. Let me know if you are. If not, we'll be like
loads of hearts and thumbs up, so I think so.
Fantastic. So that's what we're going to play with, and I'm really looking forwad to that. And I'll show you my other pencils as well. And like I say, so many. Oh, Derwent, fantastic. Derwent. Ink Tents are a little bit different because they're actually like an ink rather than a watercolour pencil. But the normal Derwent range, all these, good quality pencils, not the ones the kids get and you've ever tried with and you go, I'm not good with them. That's because they're not good. All right. So, yeah. I hope you've enjoyed that. I did. It's great. Let's do it again. And obviously, if it's time through the week, we'll do some little improvised ones as well, some extras. But we'll let you know. But we'll make it next Sunday, 6 o'clock again.
Yep, that'd be fantastic. Somebody did ask as well, would you be able to do some that they can craft along with?
So let you know what we're using beforehand.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. But remember, all of these ones that you can't just, they're going to be on the site, so you can play them back again and do that. That'll be cool. Yeah, we're not going to take them down. We're going to leave them there for you to play with. And so that's perfect. I can't believe how good we got the timing. So just to recap, this is what we did. We made faux leather, where did I put that sheet of faux leather? There. Faux leather to cover books and whatever. And we did the quick faux leather that I was going to show you on the TV. All out of cereal boxes, like your Weetabix box or whatever, or craft card, and then you can start playing with the stuff you've got in the house. But next week, let's play with watercolour pencils.
Great.
And now, so from the studios in Evesham, I'd like to hand over to the studios in Wales to the lovely Mandy, who's going to take you through some mixed media.
And you can find her on
the Imagination Craft website. Woo!
Imagination Craft Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook page. As soon as somebody asks, if they ask my name there, it just goes out your head. Yeah, hi Sue, yeah. Whoa. Yeah, Imagination Craft's Facebook page. So handing over now. So go see Mandy and play. And
so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. No,
we made them stuff at the start with Kenny Cooper.
Okay.
The beard was a bit much, sorry, yeah.
All right. I'll be posting this directly onto the Facebook page and the Inkettes page, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, everybody. Stay
Bye.
safe. Bye.